Welcome to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, mindset coach and imposter syndrome expert, and I'm here to tell you that imposter syndrome isn't a life sentence. It's just a dysfunctional way of thinking. If you feel like your ideas are unoriginal, that your message isn't necessary or important, or like you're a complete and total fraud, then you've come to the right place. Time to kick your inner imposter to the curb and create life-changing results for you and your clients. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, business mindset coach and imposter syndrome expert, and the Worthy Woman Method is closing enrollment at the end of this week. So it is Wednesday, August 18th, which means you have only a couple more days to apply to be in my lifetime group container for online coaches, the Worthy Woman Method. This is a group coaching container that is, again, lifetime access. So there's no 12 weeks here, no 16 weeks transformation. This is lifetime access to the group coaching calls, the Slack community, and the client portal that has so many resources about sales, about creating content, doing the deep inner work, the somatic work, the mindset work, the shadow work, the inner child work. It is all in the Worthy Woman Method. And the method is contingent on creating consistent income for you and your coaching business and what comes as a result of creating that consistent income. This is a holistic approach to your business, which means that you are not only learning how to grow your business and create that consistent income, but you're feeling better. You're thinking more empowered thoughts. You have an easier time showing up because you feel better. Creating content is so easy because you're constantly inspired and you're motivated. It is the real shit in entrepreneurship that nobody really prepares us for. We come into this space and we think, okay, yeah, I'm going to sell my services and things are going to be great. But then we hit up against mindset blocks and we feel resistance and we think things aren't working. And if you feel like things aren't working in your coaching business, that is mindset work that you can do. And I am the expert at getting so much uncovered for my clients so they can move forward and create that consistent income that they want to create in their coaching businesses. We do it all inside of the Worthy Woman Method. And like I said, we have opened the doors for the second enrollment ever. And those doors close this Friday, August 20th at midnight EST. So you can go to the link in my show notes and apply, book a sales call there, or you can go to the link in my bio on my Instagram at YourCoachJill, and you will be able to, again, apply and book a sales call to see if the Worthy Woman Method is the sisterhood, is the group for you. Again, lifetime access to group coaching, to the transformations, to the amazing resources that are just going to be constantly flowing into that client portal. Like I said, I have business mindset modules in terms of inner child work, shadow work, thought work, self-coaching, and then there's the strategy stuff, the strategy modules on sales and creating content and breaking through objections. It's all inside of the Worthy Woman Method, and we are waiting for you and so excited to welcome you in. So again, link in my show notes, or you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram. I'll be over there hanging out, talking about the method, so go over there and shoot me a DM. And today, we are going to be talking about another thing that I feel like comes from the industry that I want to just dispel for you. So last week we talked about how like flow and ease comes from the coaching industry, and that people say, oh, I'm going to help you create flow and ease in your business, and that comes from strategy and systems. And we disproved that because ease and flow comes from how you feel. It comes from the emotional management that you employ, because business really has its ups and downs, and you need to be resilient and adaptable to the ups and downs and know that it means nothing about you. And that takes, like I said, emotional management work, inner healing, intentional thought work, etc. And that's all stuff that we do inside of the Worthy Woman Method. And another thing that I think the industry really puts on us is, you know how people have those time-sensitive results? Let me know if you've heard this before, okay? I made $100,000 in 6 months. I made $10K in 10 days. These are milestones and points of success that the coaching industry has weaponized. First, I want to say there is nothing wrong with these results. Those are fucking amazing results. But what it is probably doing to your brain when you're seeing this is creating silent expectations, unconscious expectations in your brain that I am supposed to be farther along than I actually am. And the brain loves ambiguity. It loves to be vague. So your brain will be telling you you're supposed to be farther ahead because it has these ideas of you're supposed to create 100K in 6 months and why aren't you doing that, etc., etc. But it doesn't actually tell you what exactly it is that you're not doing, and it doesn't actually get specific for you on like what you're not doing enough of. You're just continuously thinking, I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing enough. And I really believe that this comes from those time-sensitive results that we see other people boasting about or talking about. And again, I am not here to shit on anybody that is talking about their results. I have gotten amazing results in a short period of time, and I have talked about that before. I've created multiple 6 figures while working a 9-to-5 in the first 3.5 years of my business. I mean, it's not 100K in 6 months, but like it's still a pretty big jump. I think I created 100K within like 8 months in 2020, which is pretty good. But that was also after like 2.5 years of not seeing anything, right? So anyways, these time-sensitive results are creating those unconscious silent expectations that you're holding for yourself. And expectations are going to fuck you up. They are going to fuck you and your business up because we all are running around with these expectations of how things should be, but we never actually question them. And that's where the mindset work comes in. And that's why it's really beneficial to be the observer of your thoughts instead of just somebody who has the thought and then identifies with the thought. So if you are constantly telling yourself things like, I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, or I'm not doing enough, it is really easy for us to identify with those feelings, with those thoughts, and then they turn into feelings, right? But I want you to pay attention to if you have any of those comparison thoughts when it comes to income claims and when it comes to I should be farther along. Because the thing is that we all think, or I used to think, and you guys are thinking, that there's a secret sauce. Or a lot of us think that there is an it factor that we don't have. I used to tell myself that I'm just this like special person that doesn't have what these other coaches have, especially when I saw the time sensitive results in terms of like I made 100K in 6 months. I used to be like, I won't be able to do that. And we know now that that is evidence that you have to look into your thoughts in terms of why don't you think it's going to work for you, because it's usually a really deep-seated reason. So for example, I used to tell myself I'm never going to be able to make that much as a coach because I have a stutter. And you are probably thinking to yourself, what does that have to do with anything? But I had my reasons, right? And that is a core reason as to why I told myself I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, Z. So we all have our own reasons as to why we don't have that secret sauce. And you also could spend thousands of fucking dollars trying to figure out what this secret sauce is. But you don't need the secret sauce. You need to keep at what you're doing. You need to get clear on what your angle is in terms of the offers that you want to sell, in terms of how you want to show up on social media, in terms of what you want your opinions to be, what you want to stand for. That is the stuff that you have to nurture instead of thinking that you're always doing something wrong and that you're not doing enough. Because remember the concept of compound interest. Everything you're doing is building upon each other. I think I talked about this in the last episode, but in my creating content module in the Worthy Woman method, I talk about how the work that you're doing is not instantly transactional when you own a business. So when you go to your 9 to 5, you clock in, you get paid for that hour. So you work the hour and you get paid for that hour. When you are uploading content and doing the work on your social media, it is not instantly transactional, and that has to be okay because you are building awareness and people are always watching, they are always paying attention, and it is your job to do the inner work, to do the thought work that allows you to continue to keep going and keep staying in your purpose, committed to your mission, and committed to making this business work. Because there really is no secret sauce. And that is me telling you, somebody who has a multiple six-figure business, there is no secret sauce. There's just tenacity. There's just hard work. There's just me being committed to the fact that I am going to figure out this coaching business and I am going to completely commit myself to the process. But we get so impatient. We get so impatient and for no reason at all. It's like we're running this invisible rat race. We have taken the rat race of like life and brought it into the coaching industry because we're looking at these time-sensitive results. We're looking at these people who are saying, oh, I've gotten this result with this result. But you know what we're also negating? We're also negating the fact that these people may have gone through a lot of shit behind the scenes to get those results. We don't actually know the details. We are just seeing the result. It's just like the highlight reel. We are only seeing the highlight reel. We are not seeing the behind the scenes. We're not seeing the money that she invested. We're not seeing the hard work that she's put in. We're not seeing if she's a fucking mess mentally and emotionally. I've seen so many people who are big in the online space, who are in like the coaching industry bubble, if you may, that I can see from my Instagram. It's very big, but like the people who I know of who are bigger in the space, there have been a couple of people who I've just like checked up on and seen how they're doing. And they've been like, oh, I was so burnt out. I was doing this, this, and this. But at the time, they were talking about their income and talking about how much money they're making and blah, blah, blah. And like, this is not to say that you can't have a wildly fucking successful business and a super successful personal life as well. You absolutely can. But you can't compare yourself to somebody who is making these income claims because you don't actually know the truth and you are just using it as a weapon against yourself. You are just looking at it and thinking, I'm not good enough to have that. You're just looking at it and thinking, I'm not doing enough and I can't have that. Don't use somebody else's results as a weapon against yourself. It's not going to help your business. It's going to make it worse. And again, impatience. Like, we're so fucking impatient. So I just have to ask you, what is the rush? Because you need space. So when I think about the Worthy Woman method, I think about how important it is that my clients have space, that they have room to make decisions, that they have room to grow and learn, and that there is no fucking rush. And that is why I created it to be a lifetime program, because space felt so luxurious for me. When I used to join other group programs, I used to put a timeline on my success. I used to say, okay, like I'm gonna have to be a different person in 12 weeks, but it put so much pressure on my growth. And I also was always disappointed with the results at the end of it because I was telling myself I needed to do better and know more. And being able to have the space and realizing that nothing is an emergency, everything is okay, everything is happening exactly how it should, and I can take my time, especially because this pressure that we put on ourselves comes from the comparison within the coaching industry. It comes from us seeing somebody else's results and thinking it's not happening fast enough for me. But are you actively focusing on what's happening for you right now? The good things that are happening, even if you have just one client, even if you've just gotten on one sales call, can you acknowledge the process and can you acknowledge the journey that you're on and that you have no idea what your business is going to look like in a year, 2 years, even 6 months? Like I remember last year in 2020, when I was making like maybe $1,000 a month, and then all of a sudden I made $8,000 in a month, and it happened so fast. And I have this in an Instagram post in which I said like it happens really slowly and then it happens all at once. And that's what it feels like. It's like it feels like I'm working really hard and things aren't happening, and then they're happening. And I always regret not slowing down and acknowledging that I am doing such a good job, and so are you. And the impatience that you're feeling is just from the comparison and the expectations that you are setting for yourself. Like I said, the industry favors these time-sensitive results without understanding the emotional toll those expectations can take on us. Again, we don't know what is happening behind the scenes of somebody who has created 100K within 6 months. These are all just human beings as well, and I can guarantee you, I have worked with so many high-figure earners that are experiencing the same shit as you, the same mindset shit as you, the same struggles, the same limiting beliefs. You are not any different from these people who are creating these results. I promise you, they have just as much imposter syndrome as you do, and everything is going to happen for you. And when you stop putting this arbitrary timeline on your success, because really, when people come to me and they say, I need this to work right now, I'm like, okay, and then what? What's going to happen? What's going to happen if you have a launch and you don't get all the people that you want? Or what's going to happen if you have a launch and it flops? And a lot of people don't want to go to that negativity or to that worst case scenario. But what if it does? You're just going to continue. You're just going to keep going. The only reason why you're afraid is because you're afraid of how you're going to feel. You're afraid that you're going to feel disappointed and sad and angry at yourself, and then you're not going to show up, and it's going to cause you so much emotional turmoil. We are so afraid of our own emotions, when instead we don't even realize that we can have control over our thoughts. We can choose to keep going. We can choose to have tenacity. We can choose to not fucking give up, and we can choose to not put time limitations on our inevitable success. I read a post that said, patience is just the belief that it's going to happen. Having patience is just the act of whatever you're working towards, knowing that it's going to happen. Do you believe that? Do you believe that if you are being patient, it's because you're sure that it's coming? But when you're impatient and when you're putting these silent, unconscious expectations on yourself, when you are constantly holding yourself against this expectation that you are creating out of seeing somebody's Instagram bio or seeing their post about their income, when you're doing that, you're only causing more emotional turmoil for yourself. You're only making things worse and making it harder for you to show up and share your truth and stay in your purpose. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy to not compare yourself. I mean, I do it all the time, but I also learn how to work on my thoughts. I observe my thoughts. I stay in my own lane, and I focus on what I know to be true, and I focus on the now. I focus on the present. I focus on the things that are happening now and keep coming back to gratitude and being like, there is so much more that I don't even know is possible for me, and it's so exciting. And there's no timeline. I don't even know what the fuck my business is going to look like in a year, and that's exciting to me. That is exciting because it leaves things open for possibility instead of stress and pressure and trying to control everything. What if you loosened the reins a little bit? What if you had standards for yourself instead of expectations? So what if you had the standard of showing up consistently? What if you had the standard for setting a goal and working towards that goal with tenacity and with fearlessness and taking shame and guilt off the table? What if you took I'm not good enough completely off the table? What would happen then? You could get curious about the work that you're doing. You could get curious about why things aren't working in this one area and how can you improve. You wouldn't be constantly putting all your worth into an arbitrary timeline. And this is all the work that we do in the Worthy Woman method. We get really down and dirty and gritty in those thoughts, in those emotions, in the things that are making business hard for you, and we make it fucking simple, and you feel better and you think better and you get supported by an amazing group of women who are doing the same thing as you. There's no fucking comparison in this group because we're all here to support each other, and we get real on the coaching industry, and we get real on the things that you can do to create that consistent income in your business and to have a fucking kick-ass life at the same time, because I am never going to sacrifice my personal life for my business ever, and you don't have to either. And that's the work that we do inside of the Worthy Woman Method. So you can go to the link in my show notes and apply, book your sales call there, or you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram at Your Coach Jill, and you can click the link there and book a sales call there. And I cannot wait to see your application. I love you guys. See you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Check out the show notes to get started on your free 3-day challenge to overcome your inner imposter. Once you're done listening today, screenshot this episode and share it to your Instagram story, tagging me at Your Coach Jill so I can share it on my page. See you next time.